Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil, and welcome in. It's Miss Astrology Day, and just so you all know who are listening and may not be watching, it's the Hoodie Gang Day as well.
That's right.
We're so proud of us. We quit
The girls are comfy today.
There's
Yeah.
there's no memo, no nothing, and I guess that's why Yolanda's not joining us because she's
She
not a
hasn't.
hoodie girl. She's not a hoodie girl. Welcome in, Miss Astrology. It's good to
Oh,
see you.
good to see you. I'm happy to be here as always.
Well,
Happy
we're
Yeah,
happy
Florida
to have
season.
you. That's right. That's right. And Aprylete, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Today's Thursday, so
I
yeah,
like Tuesdays.
And that means tomorrow is Friday. And
absolutely.
okay, okay. Mi- Miss Astrology, happy belated birthday. Did you have a
Thank
good one?
you. Yes, my birthday was yesterday. I had a really nice day. It was exactly how I wanted it to be.
Which
And
is what?
just relaxing and
Okay.
just had people send me some food and send
There
me a
you
couple of
go.
gifts. And I just
There
kind of
you
stayed
go.
home and relaxed. So it was good. I've had plenty of really wild birthdays in the past. So this one was nice and
Just
relaxed.
enjoying you. So
Yeah,
you,
it was
yeah.
good. Yeah,
Because you say that Sagittarians are a lot.
a lot.
What's a wild birthday?
Um, well, I've had taken some really good trips, but just kind of
Hmm.
all night birthdays or just
Okay.
nonstop or birthdays that
Oh.
you party and celebrate for 4 or 5 days in a row and
Hmm.
just kind of remember only parts of it.
Which is why you can't remember what
Oh
those.
yeah, but and then the a lot part comes when you feel kind of bad the next day because you spent a lot and drank a lot and ate a lot and oh my god, I
Did
put
a
that
lot.
online like a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
like that. So
And you're right there between the holidays, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so you can really afford to kind of
yeah,
use
we
both
all
of those.
do. This is why Black Friday, I believe Thanksgiving, the day that we eat the most, Black Friday, the day that we spend the most. Did you know that Thanksgiving is also the day that people drink the most alcohol?
Really?
I heard that.
Yep. So all of this over the top stuff is right in Sagittarius season. And then of course we get Capricorn earth signs come to clean it up like, okay, now let me see
Okay,
what damage
we're
y'all did.
starting the new
Yeah.
year. We got to do some things and get some
Let's
Yeah,
things
fix
straight.
this. Yes.
get
Yeah.
grounded.
Yeah. So it's fun though. We need it
That's
sometimes.
that's okay too. That's right. Absolutely.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you both are here. Aprilette, you're doing well. Did you have a good holiday?
The holiday was all right. It was very simple for me. I already knew going into it that I wasn't going to do much. I was going to rest, and I did just that. And I actually was invited to eat a little bit, and so I had some sides because I don't eat meat, so I had some sides that were really good, and we were all good.
So were you were invited to eat out, or they brought in?
Oh, I went somewhere.
Okay, let's keep this as vague as possible. Okay. Um, okay, okay. It's very nebulous out there. It's just like, yeah, they invited me out, and I
Right.
went somewhere, and I ate sides, not
Yeah,
knowing the
because
kind of
y'all
sides
always
Mhm.
that.
be in my business.
Okay, remember that now. Okay.
Right. When we stop asking.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, just be warned. You know how it goes. All right, so we're going to talk obviously about Sagittarius season. We're going to not ask any questions about Aprillette's private life. We don't want to upset her or get in her business. And we're going to talk some of the news of the day and some topics and things like that. So welcome into it, Sybil. And now let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. We put it out to 5 days a week. We would love to have you subscribe if you don't already. And if you do, to pick up subscriptions for people in your family and friends as you get close to the holiday period. It's absolutely free. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address or the person who you're sending it to's email address. And we'll have it in their email box every Monday through Friday morning. We cover a lot of topics that really pertain to Black folks, are of interest to Black folks, or sometimes it's just news items that you just need to know about. We've been keeping up what's going on in Israel in terms of foreign affairs, but that has really engendered a lot of other different discussions regarding racism, anti Semitism, Islamophobia, things like that. And also we have youngins who contribute to the newsletter, such as Aprylete with mental health and wellness, as well as the LGBTQ social justice contributor. That is Quinn Townsend Riley, her big brother. Cameron is our political contributor, and then there's Coy Malone, who is our social justice contributor. So Aprylete, I wasn't quite sure I was understanding this particular story. So hit me about this. Concerns uh, including mental health information on gun background checks. What
Yes.
that mean?
Okay, so this has been a topic. I think every time that there's a mass shooting, this always becomes a topic. This is always lawmakers are talking about it, trying to figure out if there should be mental health background checks when they do a background check to purchase a gun.
Got
So
it.
this is now a topic in New Hampshire because there was an incident where someone at the New Hampshire hospital, a former patient, tragically shot a security guard and he died. And
Mhm.
so now they are asking the question, should mental health information be in the database for people to purchase guns? And so there's been a lot of questions about this. There's been a lot of trying to find answers, but it's been reported that there are no state guidelines when it comes to mental health reporting or who should be reporting any of this mental health information. And so when someone buys a gun, dealers are mandated to conduct background checks using the national criminal system. But the critical question is, what mental health information is accessible during these checks? And
Mm.
so, from my perspective as an advocate, I personally do not believe that that is necessary. And the only reason why I say this is because
Mm.
it fits into the stigma. Most violence and most gun violence has absolutely nothing to do with mental illness. And there are studies out that in the United States, 4% of violence are from people who experience illness, and 96% of violence is everybody else. So
Mm.
when we think about it, are we feeding into the stigma that mentally ill people are scary, that they're violent, that they are just going to go out and kill someone? If we're now using, mental health background checks should be correlated with background checks for guns, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So that's my perspective.
Well, I'm going to challenge you on that because not only did you mention New Hampshire, but in Vermont, with a man who spent several weeks in a mental health facility, and it was not reported when he went to buy guns, in
Mhm.
which he killed several people and then ultimately killed himself. They had a whole manhunt and all this. Couldn't understand why he was going to these various places and trying to make sense out of this. And his family knew about it.
Mhm.
He was a former military man, and there was some reference to that in his military record. I think it's necessary. I know that it's not always what we want to say. Oh, it's based upon mental health and things like that. But sometimes it doesn't hurt to have that information when people are going to buy or others are asked to sell them a weapon. And so I understand as an advocate because you can't always use that as an excuse, right?
Mhm.
But using that information could have saved how many lives
Right.
in Vermont? How many lives could have been saved in the Walmart shooting that took place in Ohio a couple of weeks ago? How many lives could have been saved? And I can go on with other
Yeah. No,
examples of this, but you get my point.
but what about universal background checks? Like no one's talking about that, and no one's talking about maybe just making these assault rifles not available.
Oh, definitely. We're
So
talking. No, no, no. We are talking about that. We
Mhm.
are talking about that because it doesn't make any sense to have a weaponized uh, a weapon from war
Yeah,
to shoot animals. That doesn't make any
Right.
sense. And it is only an effort for the gun companies to make money.
yeah,
It has nothing to do with shooting animals or they're not going to war. These people are not going to war.
right,
They
right.
are just they like the excitement, they like the power, they like all of this. But and as a part of the universal background check, to your point, the mental health and where you are on that spectrum should also be included in the universal background checks.
So there is a
honestly believe
question.
that.
I'm sorry, there is a question on the background checks that asks if you have been
Diagnosed.
not diagnosed, but if you've been in a mental institution. So that's one of the questions. But when it comes to, I guess, the reporting, that's where everyone is raising the concerns, because there's no law on reporting that. So if someone did answer yes or no, then I guess when it comes to the mental institutions or doctors, like, who is reporting that to the background check? So that's where it's a little murky. And I understand your point, Sybil, for sure. I think for me, again, it's more of the headlines. It's more of the lawmakers and the politicians and even Americans just blaming mental illness on, like, mass shootings on mental illness. Like, I feel like that is an scapegoat at times. Like, we instantly go to, oh, that person had a mental illness. Oh, that person had mental health issues and challenges. We all deal with mental health at the end of the day. Like, it's just like our physical health, and we all deal with breaks different times and periods of our life. So I feel like that is the narrative all the time, and it just it just speaks to the stigma on mentally ill people are violent. And
by the same token, there are laws about you're being addicted to drugs or alcohol. This is the case with President Biden's son, and saying that he lied when he went to buy a gun and to apply for a permit to own a gun, because he was addicted to drugs and alcohol. And so I think that sometimes you just have to suck it up and admit that you have an issue, that you have a problem. And having an addiction problem is akin to having, to me, some sort of mental health issue.
And if we're honest, can we admit that if someone is mass shooting, that they have a mental health issue? Like, who does that?
Right.
So if we're somewhere, like, if this, I agree with you, Sybil. I think it should be, and not even a box of have you ever been, check yes or no, but maybe some kind of additional assessment where you have to pick the best scenario of how you will respond to this, or what would you do with this, like kind of a questionnaire and assessment. A lot of times you got to take those for an employer. Why not? If you're going to just prevent one mass shooting, one school shooting, oh, well, if it's a stigma, I mean, it is what it is. And you got to have some kind of mental health issue if you're shooting up churches and schools and public events.
And at parades, I mean, there were in my hometown, Chicago, the suburb where they had the parade on July 4th, and this young man whose father applied for a gun permit for him before he was legally able to do it himself, and did not admit to the issues that were going wrong in their family. And so he is being held responsible for that too.
Yes, he should. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do agree with doing away with the heavy assault rifles. Like, who needs an automatic weapon? Why do you need to shoot 50 rounds? You're not going to be able to eat that animal if you shoot it up like that. Stop.
Who would do that? Who would be able to use that for, like you said, for eating, or and even if you're going to use it to stuff it, that's going to be a lot of work on the part of the person doing that, because of all the damage done to them. So Aprylete, as we wrap this up, I want, and I don't, and hear me when I say this, I'm not beating up on you and the whole mental health aspect.
Definitely don't think you are.
I didn't want people to think that you were, dropping out. You were
it's the Wi-Fi, y'all. It's the Wi-Fi.
She's okay.
But I do want to. I think it's a discussion that we need to keep having, and I personally, I am always talking about mass shootings. That is a topic that is so disturbing to me, and the fact that we are losing so many people and babies and all the innocents that are involved in this. I will always talk about this, but I will always have a discussion with you about this, because I think it's only fair that we give the entirety of the issue.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's
I think we're
important.
going to see some real reform in police and gun laws and all that kind of stuff over the next maybe 4 or 5 more years. Definitely over the next 18 months, we should see a lot of these conversations coming back up, just how the astrology is placed.
Right.
But I think we're going to see some major reform. But it might even take a lot more loss, quite honestly. And,
That part.
it's going to
And
have to hit really close to home for some of these lawmakers.
not for the Republicans, because we had a leading Republican in the Congress who was shot at
Yikes.
baseball practice with his colleagues on the team, and he still doesn't recognize the need for an amended gun control.
Wow.
But it's going to take us to register and to vote and to change
Right.
the climate and
Yeah.
the politics of our federal government
Yep.
in order to make these changes.
Yeah.
I believe that. Their whole thing is just so bizarre to me and so skewed off the charts how they are willing to be bought by the gun and ammo industry
Yeah.
and not take into concern human life.
And that's what's
Not
killing.
even his own.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Some of the other things that we do talk about in the newsletter, and keeping up with what Aprylete said, that is one of the stories that is leading in our 5 things you need to know. The ceasefires continue for one more day in Israel and between them and the Hamas terrorists. It came down to the wire. It was so late that I couldn't even get the headline changed last night. They were like, "Well, will Israel agree to, another temporary ceasefire?" They started out with 4 days, and then they kind of did 2 days and 2 days, and then they got to this one day just today. And so we'll find out tonight if they're going to extend it. In which time the exchange of hostages and prisoners. The hostages held by Hamas and the Palestinian prisoners held in Israeli jails. And they announced people who are already released today. But it doesn't look good because I think Israel was kind of itching to get back to their attacks on the Hamas terrorists and what they believe. And there may be some truth to this. What they believe is that they are just stacking up and getting their arms together and making plans and coming back stronger against Israel. But Israel's not playing that either. So and I don't know the diplomacy is going to be the answer to this either. It's a really sad situation. But a lot of people are getting involved. Qatari government, the Egyptian government, as well as the United States and Israel, and Middle East politics is just it's more than a notion.
Yeah.
And I don't know that we'll ever have a Jimmy Carter who is able to affect the change in the Middle East the way he was back in the 70s. Although Joe Biden has a good relationship with Israel, I'm not sure that Netanyahu will be the president or prime minister for much longer in Israel, because I think the people are going to call for a change because he's just so far to the right.
Right.
And so my question to you all is: are you all paying attention to this? Does this have any kind of does this take up any space in your brain each day?
I try not to, in all honesty. I try to stay away from the news just because I can go down these rabbit holes. Remember, I'm a Sag, you guys. I can do a lot. So then once I start reading, then I can become obsessed with it. And then next thing I know, my entire mood is changed. My outlook is changed. And I just can't do it. However, I did write yesterday in the newsletter that I do think that there is going to be kind of this back and forth. It makes sense that there's they're freeing because Sag season is about freedom, but at the same time with some of the other planets, there's a lot of fighting for what you believe in also. And it's religious beliefs, political beliefs, and this is Sag for you. They fight for what they believe in, and even if it's that's stupid, you're killing we don't care.
Right, right.
It took us a long time to get to this belief, and we're sticking with it. And so I think that we'll see kind of both ends of the spectrum. Okay, here, take them. We're freeing some, but okay, we're fighting again. Oh, you said what? Here it's on. We're here we go again. So I think we're gonna see a lot more of that during Sagittarius season, unfortunately.
I'm really interested to see how people respond to because we do talk so much about Black folks and the issues and I think, like I said, I think world politics should be on our radar, and that's why I
Right.
do the stories. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody's like, miss me with that, but the result that or the things that have come as a result of this, such as the anti-Semitism on the college
Right.
campuses, the three young men who were shot by an angry white man, and they're investigating whether this was a hate crime.
It is.
Yeah.
Where's that? And that happened in Vermont, and it's like, what the world is going on? We do have a lot of concern the way Black people are treated, but this time, when we talk about anti-Semitism, it takes the reporting to a whole different level.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It
Yeah.
really does. It just it's disturbing on so many levels. So I will watch it and I'll report if you
Yes.
want to
Thank
know or
you.
not.
Yes.
Uh,
We get everything we need to know from Sybil.
and I'll report before I go and watch Hallmark movies for the rest of the night to clear my head and
Yep.
my heart. Absolutely. So those are a couple of things that we have in the What You Need to Know newsletter. We would love to have you subscribe, as I mentioned. And when you do subscribe and you get your newsletter every day, please open it. Don't just say, "Oh, my newsletter's here." Open it, read it, see what we got for you. And if you have suggestions, if you want to have a birthday shout out or whatever, just let us know. And because we want you to feel included and to have you represented and our people represented in our newsletter. So thank you very
And
much.
they're quick reads. The articles are quick reads. They're
Yeah,
well written out. Yeah, you can scroll and see which ones kind of that you're most interested in, and
yeah.
you grab from there. Yeah, so
Grab your attention and and say, what is Aprylette talking about with mental health today?
Yeah, you can
And
listen to it. I love listening.
yeah,
Yeah. Listen to
and
it
we
while
do
you're
that
brushing
as
your teeth in
well.
the
And we
morning.
give you a
Mhm.
quick a wrap up of the stories there. And then you listen to that and think maybe, okay, well then I'll go check that story
Yep.
out. Or go and look for Yogi's Jewel or whatever it is. Let's move to what's really going on. This is our question of the day. It is Sagittarius season. And so as I asked April Ms. Astrology, what that means.
well, it's the most generous time of year for sure. So, like I said, this is the time of us overeating, overspending, over drinking, over a lot of family arguments, right? They're having discussions and those kind of things over beliefs and politics during this time of year. It's also a really good time to explore, to really restore your optimism. One thing I do encourage people to do during Sag season is kind of get as much sunlight as you can. Winter is coming. I know it's already kind of getting cold, but it's not actually winter yet, you guys.
Right, right.
Right. So winter is coming and we don't get any more fire energy until spring. So you really need to get as much of this as you can. And I mean physically, fire, sun, grounding, nature. Sagittarius rules the legs and the thighs. They're half horse, half man. So getting out and moving as much as you can right now is going to kind of give us that surplus of energy that's going to take us through winter. Because when Capricorn season gets here, it's back to business. That's when everybody's like, "Oh, it's the new year. I'm gonna do my New Year's resolutions and this and that." Well, no, that's actually Capricorn. That's the Earth sign
Mhm.
coming in, cleaning up the mess like they do after every fiery season. So during this time, you really want to explore, learn, go on an adventure, go on a walk. If you have the opportunity to travel, do that. Those are really going to be things that feel good. If you have the opportunity to learn something new, I also think that we may get some information about student loans, higher education,
Mm.
something like that during this time because Sag rules that. But I also think that we could see more fighting. And that's the thing, Sag is foreign lands. So this isn't
Mhm.
fighting here, even though for them it's here, right?
Right.
But from us in the Western world, because we're Western astrology, from our perspective, it's them fighting over there. And it's
Yeah.
going to be some of that get your freedom, now put your dukes up. Now it's time to fight. A lot of that's going to be going back and forth as well, I think. So the best thing
Wow.
that we can kind of do on a personal level, if you don't have anything, any way to help on the bigger level that you're interested in, is really, like I said, get the movement in, maybe decide what you want to learn or do or try to accomplish for the winter months, that kind of thing. Get as much sun as you can, as much movement and stuff like that. as
And
we're
even if you like are in your car, because it takes more exercise to move from your house to your car. You need more than that.
right,
But in terms
right.
of getting the sunlight, to open up the screen on your sunroof and get some sun
Absolutely.
that way, that
That's a
helps a
good
lot
idea.
too. Yeah, and
Yes.
especially when you're in traffic and you're like this, you're like,
Yeah.
I need some sun. I need to
I've been trying
stop
to
a little bit.
hoard the sun. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just want to put it in a jar and put it
Right.
next to my bed. I've been trying to
I'm
hoard
just
it as much
concerned about my winter color. I
as
hate
I
it.
Uh-huh.
can.
Yeah.
My godbaby asked me why I'm pale in the winter. I'm like, yeah, it's my winter color. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get as much in as I can as well. But I think overall that's our saving grace from going from Sag season through the winter because we don't get any sun.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's important as we get ready to go through winter to start to transition our bodies to eat more hearty foods. So this is
Hmm.
more stews, more soups, more root vegetables to kind of keep us grounded as we go into that. I know people tend to like their fruits, but those are actually better in the winter. I mean, in the summer when it's hotter.
Hmm.
In the winter, where we would do better to eat more of that kind of hearty stuff to
Hmm.
keep us a little bit more grounded. Hmm.
I ate some butternut squash
Oh,
for
my
for,
favorite.
for
Hmm.
lunch today, and it
Soup?
was
Was it
Yeah.
good?
Oh
yeah,
my goodness, that's
yeah.
my favorite. They have a place here that you can put CBD butter in it.
Oh, I bet it
Oh,
be great
I'm
after
gonna try
that.
that.
Yeah.
I need that
It's
relaxation.
very,
Okay.
very good.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Okay, send me the name of that place. I'm gonna check
Right.
it
okay.
out. Okay.
Yeah.
So for individuals, are you seeing anything in terms of what no, my first question for you is how as a Sagittarius, because you and I thought about this when I read your article and you said and stat season is a lot.
It's a
We're
lot.
a lot.
It can be a lot.
And are you a perfect specimen of a Sagittarian?
I can absolutely be a lot. And like sometimes my friends are like, oh my God. So I try to, but this is the thing, you have to embrace that part of who you are. If you are a Sag or you have maybe Mars in Sagittarius or a Sagittarius moon, if you don't allow yourself to go out and have a night where you just have a lot of fun, or it doesn't have to be a lot of fun, but it could be, I really want to learn a lot about this subject. I want to go down the rabbit hole of this new subject that I want to learn a lot about, or any of those kind of things where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go dance all night and do a lot, which I did with my friend last weekend, my poor friend. This is what I
Oh,
do as a Sag. When I go out with her, we've been friends over 20 years. So I had a Red Bull, but I didn't tell her until later in the night. I was like, oh, by the way, I had a Red Bull earlier, so it's gonna be a long night. She's like,
She's like, oh,
thanks a
okay.
lot.
oh, okay, is this one of your lot nights, one of your long
A
nights? But
lot nights,
yeah,
yeah.
but if what happens if you don't honor that part of yourself and you don't allow that to happen, then when it does come out, it comes out in a way that's
Mm.
toxic or destructive.
Mm.
To now you've done a lot of excessive spending instead of saying, okay, I'm gonna go allow myself to have fun. Here's my budget. I'm gonna go. I don't care what I spend it on. I can blow it all if I want to. Otherwise, you're gonna double the budget, double
Yeah,
the alcohol, get into an argument because you didn't
you're
allow
making
yourself
up
to
stuff.
express yourself.
Right,
Mhm.
right. That's
So I
really
think it's
interesting.
important to allow yourself. Yeah.
Give yourself and there's balance in all of this, because if you go this way, then you're going to eventually going to come back, but
Right.
you do have to
Exactly.
recognize it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's starting to get dark earlier. We're going to calm down a little bit earlier now. Automatically, nature is going to, but it's giving us one last time to have some fun, to be excited, to kind of be alive. It's really that fiery energy. Like I said, be excited, be passionate, be all of that fire
Be
before we go
you.
in the house for the next 90 days.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. So let's talk about some
Yeah.
famous Sagittarians. Who do you have for us?
Yes, I pulled some charts and I knew I was going to start with my favorite. My
Mhm.
favorite Sagittarius is Miss Regina Hall. I
Oh, I'm a fan
absolutely
of hers.
love
Yeah.
her. She is my favorite. And fun fact, Sybil, we always get at least one born on a full moon. Absolutely.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love her because she's a Sag, which is outgoing and fun and funny. We see her in so many
Mhm.
comedies. However, there's still a sense of mystery about her, right? Like we still
Mhm.
just kind of don't really know. She's got a
Mhm.
lot of Scorpio placements, which is a very private sign. I actually think she's in a really, really good place right now. And I think she's making some really smart investments and partnerships. And we're going to really see her come out on top in a different way that's way outside of acting and way outside of any kind of celebrity that has a lot more to do with really establishing her foundation, whether it be in philanthropy. I know she's really big on a couple of causes, so it may be that, but I think she's really making some really good partnerships right now. So I'm excited to see what she does this year. Her birthday's December 12th. So I love Regina Hall. She's my favorite.
I am a big fan of hers, and I think that last year or the year before last was a bit of a revelation regarding her career because she was asked to do some hosting things, and she, responded to the call with great aplomb and just killed it. And every time
Yes.
she's done that, and even off the cuff stuff that she does is just very, very funny.
Yes, I love her. She's my favorite Sag. I know a lot of people like to go with Jay-Z. He's
Mhm.
cool too. And then I have Golden Brooks. We know Golden Brooks from
Oh yeah.
Friends. Yes, her birthday's tomorrow, actually, December 1st. The same as my son and the same as Richard Pryor. His birthday was December 1st as well.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, what do you see for Golden Brooks? Because
Um,
I, I don't know if I've seen her in a lot lately, or when she's
Again, no, again, someone with a lot of Scorpio placement shows she's pretty private. I think for her, she's really trying to build so maybe a foundation that kind of came down, maybe some things with her in her home life or her childhood, or maybe with her mom that she's kind of been dealing with over the last couple years that she's really trying to get herself back stable with. It feels like more
Mhm.
personal issues, and this is probably why we haven't seen a whole lot of her. And besides the fact that her Saturn and her moon make a positive aspect to each other, so she's just someone that tends to be really private. I don't know that we're going to actually see much more of Golden Brooks, but I think that she's probably really just like, you know what, I'm done with that. I'm moving on from that. Right now, I'm just trying to see what's next. What am I building next? What am I investing in next? What's kind of the next ground for me? So, but
She, I forget who. I know she has a son, a child, I should say, and I think there were some issues there, but taking care of her kid, I think
right.
was
So
was
that
the
may
key
be it
as well.
instead of with her mother, like, because, but
Wood
just with
side,
that
that's what it is.
moon, it's as a mother with a mother, and it's that Capricorn moon. So it's not an easy placement for the moon as it is.
Mhm,
And it was
mhm.
probably just some having to grow up and reestablish boundaries within the mother child dynamic or household dynamic. So,
Yeah.
That's important.
I think they have a daughter. She and DB Woodside, the actor, have a daughter together, I think. But I always liked her because her name was Maya Wilkes, and so because you don't hear a lot of Sybil and you don't hear a lot of Wilkes, so
That's
that's right. Very
she was my favorite girlfriend on that show, and I wish her like she's very talented. She's a beautiful girl, but she's also immensely talented.
Right, she really is. I think that is one thing about Sag. They do tend to be a pretty talented sign. Like I didn't, and this was funny. I don't know how I didn't know that Samuel L. Jackson was a Sagittarius.
Right.
Yeah, how? Why did I know that? I'm like, of course he is. Have you heard his mouth? I remember my first time on this show, and just a cuss word slipped out, and Yolanda was like, "No cussing." I was like, yeah, but Samuel L. Jackson also is a Sagittarius, and his moon was in Virgo, so he's one of those perfectionists. I think that he's going to have a lot more big things also come in, more work coming from him. But he's been so steady, and that's
Mhm.
all we're going to really
Yeah.
get from him. He's got that Mars and Capricorn and Jupiter there as well. It's just a steady progression for him. Like whatever it is, it's like it took him a while to get here, but now that he's here,
He's
it's
just
just
rolling. Yep.
and it's just, and that's all that we're really going to see from him. And with that moon in Virgo, it's just like I feel like he's like feels like he's really finally in it. Like he's got his groove, he's got it together,
Right.
and can't nobody mess with him. So I love
Right.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
His birthday
He's
is
got a,
December the 21st, so he's
oh,
right
very
on
good.
that
Very good.
Sagittarius Capricorn cusp, and he has one of
Mhm.
my favorite placements, which is Mars in Capricorn. It's such a good placement for success. I wish I had that placement. If I could do one thing in my chart, it would be that
You
one.
would change the placement.
I would move Mars from Sagittarius to Capricorn. It just works better for success. Yeah.
That's funny. That was
Yeah.
funny.
No, I like Samuel L.
So
Jackson.
does it talk about, as you mentioned, kind of a late starter in terms of the business and things like that? But he really does his sign talk to the all of the different things that he's willing to try? Because like the animated features and Pulp Fiction, which was a real step out, and the different things, and him becoming the biggest money maker. If you put him in your movie, you're pretty
It's
much
gonna make
guaranteed.
money.
For
You're
sure.
going to make money. Exactly. I think it just speaks to him having both a mutable sun. So mutable, remember the mutable signs take us from the end of one season to the next. So they're very changeable. They're really like variety. They really like new things. Not only is his sun mutable, but so is his moon, because Virgo is also a mutable sign. So in order for him to really feel proud, and also in order for him to emotionally connect, not that the Virgo moon emotionally connects, but in order for him to find some kind of like deeper connection, things have to always be switched up for him. He's got to have variety. He'll come back to something that he's done before, but he's not going to do the same thing multiple times in a row. So this is just a Sag thing. This is like also that Sag that does a lot of, I'm going to dig and learn this real big, and then, okay, I'm done with that. I don't ever talk about it again, and then go on to something else. So I think it just speaks to him having a lot of mutable placements.
Absolutely. We run out of time for this segment, but we're going to move this over into the next and continue in our conversations. We talk about trending news. And while we have you, remind people how we can follow you and be a part of Ms. Astrology World.
Cosmicallylit.com. That's my website. I encourage everyone also to sign up for my newsletter. I do not send it every day. I send it maybe 3 times a month, just to kind of let you know what's going on. But Cosmically Lit. Also, I got courses coming up at the beginning of next year. I have some fundamentals of astrology, astrology and relationships, astrology and health. My team, we're all packaging it together now. So if you get on the newsletter, then you'll be able to know when that's rolling out and all of that kind of good stuff that's going with it.
That's great.
Yeah, I want people to understand this for themselves, and because you can use this information with your loved ones, you guys. You call it manipulation if you want to. I call
it. Call it be prepared. I'm prepared.
We're prepared. Exactly.
Okay. So who else do we have on the Sagittarius list?
Miss Nene Leakes is a Sag. I was
Wow.
I was kind of surprised to see that as well. And when I was doing my look-in today, I think she's coming back to the Real Housewives franchise. Or something. I think that she's going to come back. She has that Taurus moon, and Uranus is in Taurus, shaking things up. So if she comes back, I think she's going to come back to shake things up. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think we're going to see a lot more from her. She's having a nodal return, so it's back in her north node. So she's not going nowhere. I think the spotlight is actually going to come back on her for the next 2 years or so, and then she's coming back to the franchise. So.
Well, she certainly changed her look up, so they'll see how the rest of it follows. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then another Sag I have is Don Cheadle. We share the same birthday. Oh. Yes, November 29th. We share the same birthday. So he has a Libra moon. I absolutely love Libra moons, and 3 people that are Sag and Libra moons: Don Cheadle, Jay-Z, and Tiana Taylor. When you really see any kind of Libra moon, you guys, they're going to make money. They're also going to struggle in relationships and partnerships, and not just their romantic partnerships and relationships, business partnerships as well. So I think we're going to see some of that with Don Cheadle over the next 18 months or so. He does have some Scorpio placements, so this may stay really hush to where we don't really know a lot about it until some other time, or maybe down the line. Also, I think that because he has a Pisces placement, that makes me think that he's doing some kind of spiritual healing or religious healing, if you will, or ancestral kind of spiritual things. So we may see some of that coming out from him as well. But I'm interested to see what kind of partnering comes up, as far as like he's having a little bit of a battle there.
I hope his relationship is one, I'm not big into, people's business and stuff like that, but his personal relationship is one that's always interested me. He and his wife, they were just partners without marriage for a very long time. I mean, their girls were like into their upper teenage, maybe early 20s before they finally got married during the pandemic. Oh, wow. And I was like, wow, what happened that you wake up one morning and go, okay,
I'll do it. I surrender. You win. Yeah. Yeah. That might be something. Maybe it had something to do with a prenuptial agreement, or not wanting to, that kind of thing, because it is that Libra moon and money. Because Libra moon ain't gonna partner with you unless they get some money out of this thing. Like, this is gonna have to be. So it may have had something to do with that, and that may be something that comes back up for him. So we'll see. But he's my birthday twin.
Okay. And Tiana Taylor is very interesting. She's a young woman on the rise, and was it just the other day that she announced that she was divorcing her
Yeah.
husband, Iman
And,
Shumpert.
and oh, can I toot my horn? I don't. I know there's
So,
nothing been told yet, but I do remember last month saying I think we're going to get some news about Gabrielle Union and her marriage. And
uh-huh.
I've been starting to hear rumors kind of swarm that there may be separating. There may be something going
Oh,
on
wow.
there. And I did make that prediction that I don't know if it's all that we thought it
Toot
would
toot.
be. But I
Well,
also
toot it, girl.
be very quiet about it. So, and
Very.
I predicted that we would see a lot of people being exposed for abuse of power, manipulation,
You did.
sexual
Yeah,
You
you
misconduct,
sure did. Yep.
and we saw all of that kind of come out. So I'm just
That
saying.
is
But
true. So none of this stuff surprised you, right?
no, actually, it didn't. It's still disappointing. Like you still like sometimes
Yeah.
it's I want to be wrong, but then it's like yikes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
and then.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna give one honorable mention, if I may, for Sagittarius. Now, y'all
Of
don't kill me
course.
'cause she's not black. However, Miss Jane Fonda.
Mm.
And I really like her, and I really liked her astrology. She has a lot of Aquarius placements, and I think the reason I liked her is that she has a Leo moon. I
Mm.
love her all her Aquarius placements, and that just kind of shows up as the activism that she always did, and the political activism and the humanitarian things efforts that she did. So, and also kind of speaks to just how great she was as an actress and all the
Hmm.
comedic roles and that kind of thing, and being so saggy with her. Workouts and all
Yeah. Yeah, for
that
sure.
kind of
Was
stuff.
that before your time, Aprylette?
I think
The Jay
so.
Fonda workout?
She's like, between who?
I don't know who this lady is. I don't
Oh, you
know.
don't know who Jane Fonda is? Okay,
Well, I need a
that's
picture. So
okay.
yeah, well, I have to Google her. Let me Google her right now.
Oh my God.
Jane Fonda was she was I guess you would call her a nepo kid back in the
Hmm.
day. Her father was a very famous actor,
Hmm.
Henry Fonda, and she was an actress in her own right.
Oh, I know
You know?
exactly who this is. Okay, didn't
Okay.
know her name. Okay, yes, very
Okay.
familiar. Okay.
Okay. And among her things, she was very, very active in the whole anti-war thing, as well as just having what was it? Um, Anti-war demonstrations, and then in social justice causes. And
Hmm.
she married really against her type when she married Ted Turner, who was a very conservative Southern man. He was the owner of the first TBS and CNN
Hmm.
Oh,
combinations, and she has no lack of suitors. That's what I love about her. She just
Right,
keeps it moving and just yeah,
right. I
yeah,
like
lovely.
Jane Fonda.
very
Yeah.
cool,
Look,
very
and now
cool.
we got it. April that knows who she is.
Yeah, there we
Tell
go.
y'all that listen. Let me tell y'all a black mom fail. I told my son that me and I was going to take my mom to go see Janet Jackson. And do you know that my 19-year-old son asked me who Janet Jackson was?
No.
And then I was like, and he was like, "Is it Michael Jackson's sister?" And I was like, "I
Oh,
failed. I failed. I
Like, trying to give you a
oh.
little lesson.
And
Oh,
then he told the picture. He was like, "Oh, okay, okay." I was like, "No, I failed."
Wow. Well, I had that with Michael Jackson last week. I took Yolanda's niece to see MJ, the live show, and
oh.
she knew some songs, but didn't, and the references were very obscure to her,
Yeah.
and understanding it. But she schooled me on who she likes because I had no idea who these people were.
Yeah.
Uh,
The
and
generational gaps are getting bigger and bigger.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And I found that also in the audience because people were standing behind us, and a couple brought their 14-year-old son, and he was just disgusted with how long the show was. You know, that
Several
the parents
hours.
were, and I think he was more embarrassed that they were singing it like the rest of us, and
Oh,
the music and everything. But it's not a fail. It's just,
I feel like I failed.
well, I'm not going to give that to you. I'm not going to let you take that because
Like
you
that.
all of
He's
this
like,
music
"My
is
bad,
around.
mama, my bad."
Yeah, all of this stuff is around him, and and maybe he was just kind of giving you a
Yeah.
hard time. So, do you have any other people that we should know about?
Nope, that was it for me.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
cool. This is we're talking about power and relationships and dangerous relationships. And a arrest warrant has been issued for a football player. His name is Von Miller. He's from the Dallas Fort Worth area
Mm.
for alleged assault of his pregnant girlfriend. He's a Super Bowl champion, was playing for, I think it was Denver at the time, but he's now playing for the Bills, the Buffalo Bills, for assaulting his girlfriend. Around 11 o'clock yesterday, Dallas police responded to a major disturbance call. The preliminary investigation showing that he and the woman got into a verbal argument and that he allegedly assaulted her. And per the affidavit, the woman and Miller have been in a relationship for 7 years, and she told officers she was 6 weeks pregnant. And according to this, the argument began around 10:40 in the morning concerning her travel plans. But all of this is keep your hands off of another person.
Like, literally.
So are you saying that because she hit him first?
Well, I don't know, but that's always
right.
Always that, because even with I remember we were having this discussion years ago about Rihanna and Chris Brown, and there's like, well, she hit me first. Well, that's not right, and
Right.
neither is your responding
Yeah.
to it. And I just think that that's something we need to teach our children in terms of, I don't care what they do. Don't keep your hands. Don't result to that. But that's just me. I've not had.
I was always really big on that, and even to the point that I did not allow them to horseplay. Like to all that. I'm like, you know what? If you want to hit your brother, throw the ball, like throw the football, like but keep your hands to all that jumping on each other's back and roughing around. I never like allowed that. And the other thing, I didn't allow for them to, kids like to rank on each other. And it was just because I knew I had one kid that was super sensitive, and you say the wrong thing and he's mad and he's going to be fighting. So let's not say those kind of things to each other. So I think it starts there with learning at a young age to teach them to keep their hands to themselves. And when I would do stuff like tickle my nephews, and the minute they would say stop, I would. And just they were, even if they were laughing, and I know maybe they didn't necessarily mean it, I wanted them to understand in that moment, their stop or their no should be an automatic or no. And if people aren't automatically taking their hands off of you when you say that, then that's a red flag that you need to establish some more boundaries for yourself. So I think those are little things that we could do at home to teach our kids to keep their hands to themselves. But
and know how to regulate your emotions. And it's hard, but it's just like having that, like take a beat when you feel that urge to like take a moment and step away.
And take a deep breath.
That's what football fields are for, to take your aggression out.
Why you have a whole team to go up and
put it on the field.
You're having an argument, they say, about travel plans, and he told, that he followed her into another room, and then he told her to get out. And so she started gathering up her stuff to get out. And then that's when he pushed her, according to the report, and taking the phone to try to record the altercation. And she said, "Stop, I'm pregnant." And that's may have been when she confirmed that she was. And he stepped on her feet, pushed her, caused her to fall onto a chair. Using one hand, he applied pressure to her neck, which caused pain but not difficulty in breathing. I mean, it kind of escalated. It did escalate, and it's unfortunate.
And if you're with somebody that takes you out of your element where you want to put your hands on them, like that means that the relationship should not be. I don't know, like being with someone that takes you to that place. It's scary.
I wonder if, because football is such an aggressive, like masculine sport, if there is maybe some component of emotional well-being that should kind of come with it, or counseling, or because
these stories are common when it comes to just the sport and the people involved with it. I've heard these stories.
Right. This isn't like we haven't heard more abuse. Like several stories of abuse coming from specifically the NFL, right? Because it is way more aggressive and kind of violent. And it's like, you have this issue of get the ball and you just use all your body and stuff. So maybe maybe they need to practice yoga and meditation too.
Well, a lot of them do, but they need Yolanda Starks-White to be their yogi.
Okay.
You both have dogs, and I wanted to warn people about this. I don't know if you've heard about this mysterious dog illness. It's a respiratory illness. And they say from Oregon to Florida, the dogs have been showing signs of a mysterious infectious respiratory illness. 14 states have reported cases of sick dogs with symptoms similar to kennel cough. But unlike the common infectious respiratory disease complex, they are not responding to the usual treatments.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so animal health officials are still trying to figure out what's causing the illness. and how to successfully treat it. In some cases, the illness led to pneumonia and unfortunately even death. And here's some of the symptoms they're asking the pooch owners to look out for: coughing and sneezing, difficulty breathing, rapid breathing, wheezing or nasal whistling, dehydration, difficulty in exercising, a fever, nasal or eye discharge, loss of appetite, weight loss, and lethargy. And they're encouraging people, if you recognize any of these signs or some of the signs, to contact their veterinarians immediately if the symptoms occur, especially those that can lead to pneumonia.
Yeah. And around this time, it's important to, I'm sorry to cut you off, to get your dog the influenza shot. And so that's really important around just this season. And if you take your dogs to the kennel or to daycare and things like that, that's super important as well. And I know what you were saying, that some of the treatment is not working if they already have this, but to, maybe prevent it, if we can just get the influenza shot, just like anything else, when you take your dogs to the vet every year for the checkups, just put that on the list.
And I saw one ad, Aprylete, and thank you for mentioning that, because I saw one ad that had the doggy parent, take the dog and they got the flu shot, and then they both went to the drugstore and the adult got the human flu shot.
Oh,
there we go. We got to keep these little babies healthy.
That's right. Absolutely. So let's move to entertainment. And this is the craziest thing. Okay, let me ask you. You didn't know who you're familiar with Jane Fonda. So I'm going to ask you. Have you ever heard of the music group Hall and Oates?
Yes, I definitely have. I love Hall and Oates. Oh my God, Aprylete. Yes, you have.
Let me Google and let me see a picture. I got to see a picture. Name a song.
You're a Rich Girl. You gone too far.
I say 1-on-1. I want to play my game tonight.
Okay.
You're a rich girl. You're a rich girl.
Don't know.
I can't go for that. I can't go for that. Okay, yeah, I know who they are. There we go.
Somebody probably used.
They laughing at you in the comments, Aprylete.
Yep. No, I got that one. Yeah. Oh, she's a man eater. Okay.
Yeah.
She'll chew you up. Yeah.
So they are at odds with each other. Not trying to make people know which one is Hall and which one is Oates. That's still a question, even all these years later. But they're having a fight, and they wouldn't talk about what the fight was over. And one of them was taking the other to court, and it's like, is that
like a real fight, like a
legal fight?
Oh no! I want to know. Do we have any?
Assets or money?
This is really crazy. A partnership for Aprylete. I'm telling you, they've been together like 50 years.
Yeah.
Like they met like when they were high school or college, right? Okay, so Daryl Hall has accused Oates. So Daryl Hall is the tall blonde. John Oates is the short little guy with the
brown hair. Okay.
Right, the curly hair. He has accused Oates of the ultimate partnership betrayal in court documents filed this week, saying that his bandmate attempted to sell his share of their joint business venture without permission.
Oh no.
The joint venture includes Hall and Oates trademarks, personal name and likeness rights, record royalty income, and website and social media assets, according to the court declaration. They did not appear in court today, but their lawyers argued on behalf over Oates' decision to sell his half of his share in the whole Oates enterprise to a music company. And the sale has been put on a pause. How do you sell your half of the business without telling your partner, this is what I'm going to do?
That's tricky. So do we feel that like he can sell it, right? It's just the conversation should have been had.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that
they're Hall and Oates.
And it can't be Hall and or and Oates. That is just so crazy to me. And how do you justify? I don't care how good of friends you are, or maybe you are not friends anymore, because that's what it seems they kind of been moving away from each other.
Yeah, but how do you not have this conversation?
That's why you have lawyers. You have lawyers to say, look, he wants out, and so let's work out a way to sever the partnership. Not
He,
just
he
going
was
and trying to sell
He
it.
really thought he was gonna get away with that. Sir, you didn't think that one all the way through.
So the sale has been paused while an arbitrator settles the dispute between the rock band Hall and Oates, which may
Oh.
soon be Hall and or and Oates.
Oh. That's crazy.
That is so crazy.
Oh, I hope they resolve it.
I do too. I really do. Because I mean, does that mean they can't that they sell
Like,
their
yeah, what happens to?
you
But I
sell
don't
half
think
the rights to the music? Can you do that?
again. I don't know.
I wonder why he's trying to sell it.
We
Maybe
need to
he
get
cut
our
down.
resident lawyer, Ward White, on that. Can you sell half of
Oh,
Hall and Oates?
right. I don't know.
And then for how much? Like how much is it? How much are we talking notes here? Are we talking? What are we talking?
We're talking good
There's
money.
probably, yeah, there's got to
They
be
have
good
a
money.
catalog.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really,
They
really
have a
do.
catalog, and they're talented guys. So maybe it depends on who wrote the song. If they both wrote it, do they split
Yeah.
that, or do you say, okay?
Right.
we're
And then
not
it's
gonna
all
put
that
in?
too, the writing credits and stuff. How do you split
Yeah.
them?
Yeah.
He didn't think that all the way through. He just, yeah. I'm gonna look at the chart.
I hate to say it, but I think somebody was just, blowing in his ear, and he got
That's possible too.
got a little too big for his britches, and
Right.
perhaps it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. But I hope that they are able to find a common ground, and that
Right.
this is the end of
Or
it.
even mend the friendship, because clearly it looks like maybe they're not friends anymore if they're doing all of that.
Right.
You said they've been together since they were teens. Like that's sad.
And everything has a season, whether it's a marriage or a partnership or whatever. Everything has a season. I said this the other day. The guy from Will and Grace, Eric McCormick, he and his wife been married 25 years, and she said, "I want out," and so she filed for divorce. And I was like, everything has a
A
season.
season.
And
Yeah.
at some point, you're like, I'm done.
It's okay. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even as wealthy as they were, the Google people, they're like,
Okay, bye. Right.
Microsoft. I'm sorry, Microsoft. But yeah, it's time to go. Time to move on. I want to go with, and he said, want to be with my other girlfriends.
Cool.
Oh, sorry, Bill Gates. I didn't mean to cast aspersions on you, Gary. But I'm Team Melinda, just to be clear. Let's close out with Yogi's Jewel for the day. The theme this week is optimism. Be optimistic. Surround yourself with optimistic people to fuel your dreams. Somebody who may bring you sides for Thanksgiving. Somebody who, whatever it is.
It'll dance with you all night.
That's right. We'll take your Red Bull and buy you a Red Bull. Once you finish that, just you want to go out and wild it out and carry it on. Surround yourself with optimistic people who encourage that.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much. I hope that you do continue your birthday celebration, Mrs.
Yes.
Astrology.
Yeah.
Birthday to all the Sages out there.
And to our number one Sag here, continue to enjoy the blessings and enjoy your next journey around the sun.
Yes, I will.
Absolutely. I will. Young Aprylete, go out there and enjoy more sides.
Get some sunshine. Get some sun, April.
Yeah,
Aprylete.
Get some sunshine for sure. Open that sunroof. Or would you take your dog out for a walk every day, right?
Yeah, we do 3 walks.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just me.
We do 3 walks. Yeah.
Okay. No, you have to go to the restroom 3 times a day. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, Ramsey would never go with me for 3 times a day for a walk, but that's okay. That's okay. He barely goes once around the yard. Thanks, ladies. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you all again soon. Take care. Aloha.